All right, Raider Nation, let's talk about what it truly means to live and breathe silver and black right now. You know that feeling when you wake up on a Sunday morning and despite everything, despite the heartbreak, the missed opportunities, the blown leads, you still find yourself saying, maybe this is the week? That's the life of a Raiders fan. It's that mix of loyalty, insanity, and hope that refuses to die, even when logic tells you it probably should. Because being a Raiders fan isn't just about football, it's about faith. It's about believing in something that keeps letting you down, but somehow still feels like home. I woke up this week thinking about that matchup against Jacksonville, and I'll be real with you, I caught myself smiling. Because even when it doesn't make sense, even when we've been through all the frustration this season, there's still that spark of belief that refuses to go out. Maybe that's crazy, but that's what being part of Raider Nation is. Embracing the chaos, riding through the storm, and holding on to that shred of hope that says, we're not done yet. Now, let's be fair. This team has given us plenty of reasons to lose faith. There have been times when watching the Raiders felt like some kind of cruel psychological experiment. But somehow, this bye week hit differently. It came at exactly the right moment. Not just for the players, but for the fans too. It felt like we all needed to take a deep breath, step back, and remember why we care so much in the first place. This team looked broken before the break, both physically and mentally. But coming out of that bye, there's something that feels refreshed about them. Like maybe they've hit a small reset button. And it's not just about rest or recovery. It's about identity. Every NFL team talks about identity, but the Raiders' identity has always been about toughness. Not just physical toughness, but mental toughness. Getting knocked down and getting back up. Taking every loss personally, but never giving up on the fight. You talk to the players, and you can sense it. That bye week wasn't just a few days off. It was a mental recharge, a reminder that they're still capable of being dangerous when things click. Several guys came back looking sharper, faster, and hungrier. You see it in the way they're practicing, the way they're talking about accountability. Take Brock Bowers, for example. Finally healthy again, moving like the athlete we all knew he could be. That's huge, because having him back at full strength changes everything for this offense. He's the kind of player that gives your quarterback a safety net, that opens up the field for everyone else. And speaking of health, the roster in general looks better than it has all year. Max is back from that minor issue. Isaiah Paul's moving better. Lonnie Johnson Jr. is ready to roll. That's depth we didn't have just a few weeks ago. And in this league, depth can be the difference between winning and losing close games. Lonnie Johnson Jr. returning might not seem like headline news to some people, but for this defense, it matters. He's a physical presence, he's experienced, and he gives Patrick Graham more flexibility with the sub-packages. The Raiders have been predictable on defense. The stats don't lie. They've been sitting in that same base coverage far too long, and opposing coordinators know it. Adding a guy like Johnson gives the secondary more options, more looks, more unpredictability. It's not about him being a star. It's about him being another chess piece that can help shake things up, because that's what this defense desperately needs. But let's talk about offense for a second, because I know that's where a lot of the frustration has been. The numbers have been flat out rough. Around 15 points per game isn't going to get it done in today's NFL. But here's where that little spark of hope sneaks in again. The addition of Tyler Lockett brings something different to this unit. A veteran presence, sure, but also chemistry. The kind of reliable, steady energy that quarterbacks thrive on. Geno Smith has had his ups and downs, and yeah, he struggled with turnovers this season. But when you look at his connection with Lockett from their past, it's undeniable that they make each other better. Sometimes a quarterback just needs that one guy he trusts. That one guy he knows will be in the right place at the right time. Tyler Lockett has always been that type of receiver. You give him a window, he finds it. You give him a sliver of space, he takes it. If that kind of familiarity helps Geno settle down, maybe it helps this entire offense settle down too. Maybe it builds some rhythm, gives Brock more room underneath, opens things up for Jacoby Myers, gives Trey a little more breathing space. Football is about momentum, and sometimes all it takes is one connection, one drive, one spark. And speaking of sparks, Raider Nation, there's a little bit of fire building for another reason too. and it's not even directly about us. Denver just got some bad news. Pat Certain, their top corner, is dealing with an injury that could keep him out several weeks. And as crazy as it sounds, that could actually shift some momentum in our favor. If he misses both matchups against us, that's a major win. I know it's never good to root for injuries, but football is a game of opportunity. When opportunity knocks, you take advantage of it. Because let's face it, if there's ever a time for the Raiders to get a lucky break, this might be it. We've had enough bad luck over the years to last a lifetime. The football gods owe us one. No Sertan means Denver's defense isn't the same. It means there's a chance to push the ball downfield, test those backups, make big plays. And if we handle business against Jacksonville, that Denver game suddenly becomes a statement game. That's when you can start to feel a shift in energy. You can start to feel the locker room believing again. And I know a lot of you out there are thinking, haven't we been here before? Yeah, we have. Hope, heartbreak, repeat. It's the cycle that never ends. But there's something about this group that feels like they still care. Like they haven't given up on the season. You can see it in the way they handled the bye week. They weren't sellers. They didn't fold. They made moves to compete. Bringing in Lockett wasn't a rebuild move. That was a win-now move. That was a signal that they still believe there's something to fight for. And that's what keeps me holding on. That's what keeps a lot of us holding on. Because deep down, we just want to see a team that doesn't quit. A team that keeps swinging even when the odds say otherwise. This fan base has been through too much not to deserve that kind of effort. The Kansas City game, the Colts game, those hurt. They made people wonder if the players were checked out. But watching how they've responded since then, you start to sense that maybe, just maybe, they're not ready to roll over. Maybe they're ready to fight. At the end of the day, all I want from this team is effort, passion, pride, the kind of energy that makes you proud to wear that logo. I believed in this coaching staff at the start of the season, and this feels like the moment where they either prove they can adjust or show that they can't. The bye week gave them time to regroup, to reassess, to figure out who they are. Now it's time to show on the field, because if they can come out against Jacksonville with a fire, with a plan, and with a little bit of that classic Raider swagger, everything changes. The narrative changes. The momentum changes. I know it sounds crazy to still have hope, but that's what we do. We hope. We believe. We ride through the pain because that's what Raider fans have always done. And if this team can find a way to pull it together after that bye week, get that win, and remind everyone what they're capable of, maybe, just maybe, we'll look back and say that this was the moment everything started to turn. You know, the thing about being a Raiders fan is that hope doesn't come from logic. It comes from heart. Every season feels like a movie where you already know the ending, but you still sit through it because you believe deep down that maybe this time something will be different. Maybe this time the hero actually wins. That's what keeps this fan base alive. That belief that all the frustration and heartbreak could one day lead to something worth waiting for. And this team, right now, they have a chance to start rewriting their story. That bye week wasn't just a pause. It was a turning point. You can see it in the way the players talk, in the way they carry themselves. There's a bit more focus, a bit more energy, and maybe even a bit more humility. They know they've underperformed. They know the expectations were higher than the results. But sometimes that realization, that moment of facing your own flaws, is exactly what pushes a team to grow. This roster has talent. Nobody can deny that. But talent alone doesn't win games in the National Football League. It's chemistry, discipline, and execution that do. And those are the things that get sharpened after a reset like this one. Lonnie Johnson Jr.'s return might seem like a small story on the surface, but it's part of a bigger shift. The defense is starting to look like it has options again. Patrick Graham has taken heat this season, and rightfully so, because predictability kills in this league. But now, with players coming back healthy and new faces stepping in, there's no excuse not to get creative. Johnson adds flexibility in sub-packages, he brings toughness in coverage, and maybe most importantly, he gives this secondary another set of fresh legs that can challenge receivers instead of playing reactive football. And that's something the Raiders have needed badly, players who play on their toes instead of their heels. Because that's when you start dictating the tempo, not just surviving it. This team needs to force turnovers, needs to make quarterbacks uncomfortable, needs to create chaos again. The kind of chaos that once defined the Raiders' defense. It's not about being perfect, it's about being relentless. That's what Raider football used to be about. And if they can tap into even a fraction of that, it could spark something real. On the offensive side, the Tyler Lockett trade keeps growing on me. It wasn't just a smart move, it was a statement. It told everyone that this front office isn't ready to fold on the season. Bringing in a player like Lockett brings leadership, reliability, and experience that this offense has been missing. Geno Smith needs that kind of presence around him, someone who knows how to get open, how to read a defense, how to find those quiet spots that keep drives alive. Lockett is that guy. He's the kind of receiver who can turn a 5-yard gain into a 15-yard play just through awareness and timing. And maybe that's what Geno needs to get his confidence back. You can't underestimate the mental side of quarterback play. When you've been struggling, when turnovers start piling up, when the fans are questioning you, it can get in your head fast. Having someone like Lockett, someone you trust, that's an anchor. And once Geno starts trusting his reads again, that's when the offense opens up. Suddenly, Brock Bowers starts finding seams again. Jacoby Myers gets more single coverage. The running game finds breathing room. It all connects. That's what's beautiful about football. One adjustment, one new piece can shift everything. But let's talk about the reality check too. The Raiders don't have time to waste. This next stretch of games decides who they really are. It's not about potential anymore. It's about results. And as crazy as it sounds, the schedule actually sets up with some opportunities. The Jacksonville game matters because it's not just a test of talent. It's a test of resilience. It's a chance to prove they've learned from all the early mistakes. Then comes Denver, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. No Pat Certain means a chance to attack downfield, to test that secondary, and to finally get some rhythm going on offense. You can feel it. The energy around this team isn't hopeless. It's fragile, but it's still there. That spark hasn't gone out completely. The coaching staff has one last shot to show that they can adjust, adapt, and motivate. And I'll say this, the way they handled the bye week tells me they're still all in. They didn't sell off pieces, they didn't give up, and that matters. Teams that want to rebuild start shipping players away for picks. Teams that want to compete make moves that say, we're not done yet. The Raiders chose to compete. That decision says a lot. It says they believe the season can still be salvaged. It says they think the locker room still has fight in it. It says they think this roster, when healthy, can win games right now. And honestly, that's the kind of mindset you want to see. Nobody in Raider Nation wants to watch a team that quits. We've seen enough of that in the past. What we want to see is a group of players that go out there, throw punches until the final whistle, and make every game a battle. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling in the NFL world as the Las Vegas Raiders reportedly make a bold move to bolster their defense for the 2025 season. Sources close to the team suggest that JADEVEON CLOWNEY, one of the league's most feared edge rushers of the last decade, could be donning silver and black next year. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders say the Raiders are actively exploring ways to bring the veteran pass rusher on board, sending a wave of excitement and speculation through the fan base. Clowney's potential addition would mark a dramatic shift in the Raiders' defensive outlook. Known for his explosive first step, relentless pursuit, and ability to disrupt both the pass and run game, Clowney has been a game-changer wherever he has played. Analysts note that his presence on the edge could instantly elevate Las Vegas pass rush, something that has been a point of concern for the franchise in recent seasons. If true, this move would signal that the Raiders are serious about defending their turf and contending in a highly competitive AFC. Fans have taken to social media to weigh in, with some ecstatic at the prospect of Clowney joining forces with the Raiders' existing defensive core. If we get Clowney, it's lights out for anyone facing us, one fan tweeted, capturing the sentiment of many who see this as a statement signing. Others are more cautious, reminding observers that Clowney has faced injuries in recent years, and durability could be a factor. Nevertheless, the buzz is undeniable, with whispers suggesting that negotiations could heat up quickly in the coming weeks. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.